Before empires, there were islands of promise. Stone rose where myth met memory. City-states learned to stand alone. Freedom demanded discipline and sacrifice. Democracy burned brightly and briefly. War turned brother against brother. Victory hollowed what unity built. Conquest arrived speaking Greek. Greece endured, even as power faded. Before history was written, memory shaped the land. The sea connected what mountains divided. Small communities learned the rhythm of survival. Trade carried ideas farther than footsteps. Stone walls began to replace fragile hope. Power gathered behind bronze and kings. Wealth flowed, and with it, envy followed. The first Greek world stood tall and fragile, and history waited for its collapse. Long before Greece, the land endured. Mountains fractured the world into valleys. The sea became the first road. Islands nurtured early island-bound cultures. Marble hands shaped abstract human forms. Trade awakened distant horizons. Crete rose from the southern seas. Palaces replaced villages with order. Power flowed without visible kings. Art celebrated nature, ritual, and motion. The sea guarded Minoan prosperity. Disaster arrived without warning or mercy. Shockwaves rippled across the Aegean. Crete weakened, but did not vanish. Mainland powers watched from afar. Mycenaean fortresses crowned the hills. Kings ruled through force and fear. Warfare reshaped the Greek mainland. Trade and conquest intertwined their fates. Legends preserved memory through song. Writing emerged to serve power. Wealth accumulated behind thick walls. Rivalry fermented beneath prosperity. The first Greek world stood divided. Collapse waited beyond the horizon. The world shattered without a single blow. Trade routes fell silent across the sea. Palaces burned, and power vanished. Kings disappeared into legend and ash. Writing faded from daily life. Memory retreated into spoken song. Violence followed scarcity across the land. Fortified hills replaced open cities. The population shrank, and horizons narrowed. Iron replaced bronze in desperate hands. Old hierarchies dissolved into survival. Isolation bred new local identities. Myths absorbed the trauma of collapse. Gods grew closer in uncertain times. Burial customs reflected fading wealth. Art simplified, but meaning endured. Communities learned endurance over glory. The sea still whispered distant possibilities. Memory stitched fragments into continuity. From silence, new forms prepared to rise. From recovery, a new order emerged. Villages clustered into shared communities. The Polis reshaped Greek identity. Citizenship replaced obedience to kings. Law became stronger than lineage. Public space defined political life. Walls marked belonging and exclusion. Hoplite warfare disciplined the citizen body. Defense became a shared obligation. Colonization relieved pressure and ambition. Greek culture crossed the seas. Language unified scattered communities. Alphabetic writing transformed memory. Poetry fixed oral tradition in text. Homer shaped a shared heroic past. Religion bound city and citizen. Festivals reinforced collective identity. Competition replaced domination among elites. The Olympic ideal transcended borders. Tyrants rose within fragile systems. Reform followed abuse of power. Political experiments multiplied across Greece. Independence became fiercely defended. Unity remained fragile, but possible. Greece stood reborn, yet divided. Greece divided itself by philosophy. Athens looked outward toward the sea. Sparta turned inward toward discipline. Democracy flourished through debate and risk. Equality existed only among citizens. Sparta forged citizens into soldiers. Childhood ended where obedience began. Women ruled the Spartan household. Fear sustained the Spartan system. Athens empowered speech over silence. Philosophy challenged tradition and authority. Wealth flowed through Athenian trade. Naval power replaced walls of stone. Sparta trusted land and spear. Honor replaced ambition in Spartan values. Individualism thrived within Athenian freedom. Art became a political expression. Two systems sharpened mutual suspicion. Allies formed around shared fears. Competition hardened into inevitability. Greece prepared to test its ideals. An empire rose beyond the eastern horizon. Persia ruled through order and reach. Kings commanded lands without numbers. Tribute flowed from distant peoples. Greece appeared small by comparison. Conflict began across the Aegean edge. Rebellion tested imperial tolerance. Persia answered with overwhelming force. Greek freedom suddenly faced extinction. Old rivalries paused before annihilation. Greece chose resistance over submission. The marathon tested courage against numbers. Speed and discipline shattered expectations. Victory proved resistance possible. Persia returned with greater resolve. Earth and water were demanded again. Thermopylae narrowed the fate of worlds. Sacrifice replaced hope with legend. Athens emptied itself to survive. The sea became the final defense. Salamis shattered imperial certainty. Numbers failed where strategy prevailed. Plataea ended the land invasion. Greece stood free through shared resolve. Unity faded as danger retreated. Victory planted seeds of rivalry. Victory transformed Athens into a beacon. The empire followed triumph across the sea. Allies became subjects through tribute. Wealth flowed into marble and pride. Pericles shaped Athens through vision. Democracy expanded participation and risk. Payment enabled the poor to govern. Exclusion still defined democracy. Architecture embodied civic ideals. Sculptures pursued perfect proportions. Art celebrated human potential. The drama examined justice and fate. Tragedy warned against excess and hubris. Comedy challenged power through laughter. Philosophy questioned inherited truths. Reason challenged mythic explanation. Education prepared citizens for debate. Naval power enforced Athenian authority. Tribute financed culture and war. Resentment grew beneath prosperity. Confidence blurred into arrogance. Moral restraint weakened under success. Athens believed itself indispensable. Others watched with growing alarm. The Golden Age balanced upon tension. Brilliance cast the longest shadow. Rivalry hardened into open war. Ideals collided with brutal necessity. Athens relied upon walls and ships. Sparta trusted invasion and endurance. Civilians became weapons of war. Overcrowding bred unseen catastrophe. Plague struck without mercy or logic. Faith in order dissolved into panic. Pericles faced judgment beyond politics. Leadership faltered after his death. Strategy replaced wisdom with ambition. The war expanded across Greece. Neutral cities were forced to choose. Civil war erupted within communities. Loyalty fractured under fear. Morality bent beneath survival instincts. The sea became Athens' final advantage. Hubris inspired catastrophic decisions. Sicily beckoned as a fatal temptation. The expedition sailed toward disaster. Time turned victory into exhaustion. Greece bled without resolution. The war consumed its own purpose. Exhaustion replaced conviction everywhere. Greece neared the edge of collapse. Athens emerged defeated and humbled. Long walls fell under enemy command. Victory brought Sparta uneasy dominance. Rule by fear replaced shared ideals. Democracy collapsed into oligarchic control. Political violence followed institutional breakdown. Democracy returned weakened and cautious. Trust in leadership remained fractured. Sparta failed to maintain unity. Harsh rule bred widespread resentment. Greece entered endless cycles of war. Mercenaries replaced citizen soldiers. Loyalty shifted toward coin and survival. The Polis lost moral authority. Philosophy turned inward toward ethics. Plato envisioned order beyond democracy. Aristotle studied systems rather than dreams. Macedon watched Greece weaken. Philip forged power through reform. Greek cities underestimated the northern threat. Freedom fragmented into competing interests. Collective defense became impossible. The Polis world quietly faded. A new age prepared to begin. Macedon rose as Greece stood divided. Philip unified Greece through force. Independence ended at Chaeronea. A young prince absorbed Greek ideals. Philosophy traveled beside military ambition. Alexander inherited an unfinished dream. Persia stood as the ultimate horizon. The army crossed into Asia. Greek war met Persian vastness. Leadership replaced numerical advantage. Cities fell through persuasion and terror. Greek culture followed conquest. Language unified distant peoples. Art blended east and west. Alexandria emerged as a new beacon. Knowledge replaced borders as power. Identity stretched beyond the Polis. Alexander chased eternity through conquest. The empire outpaced human limits. Death ended ambition without closure. The empire shattered among successors. Greek ideas outlived Greek power. Thought traveled farther than armies. Greece reshaped the wider world. Legacy replaced sovereignty forever. Greece fell, yet never vanished. Its ideas survived the loss of power. Democracy echoed beyond its birthplace. Philosophy questioned every inherited truth. Art remembered human proportion and dignity. Tragedy warned against pride and excess. Science sought order beneath the cosmos. History remembered both brilliance and ruin. Power passed, influence remained. Greece became a mirror for humanity. Thank you for watching the rise and fall of ancient Greece. We will be back with Persian history in the next video.